Hey, welcome everybody to Monday night with the Fight Gods. We're over here. We're testing out some new equipment, so please bear with us if anything gets a little bit crazy on here. I'm here with my boy Ben. I am Will. We're just chilling in the building. We got some crazy stuff to talk about, different fights going down, and different stuff like that. So, Ben, what's going on with you today, man?
Oh, not much, man. Just another crazy day in the wintry northeast that is Maine.
Yeah,
You know,
for real. Yeah, what's the weather like today?
it was like in the teens all day. Like it was really cold, and dude, not even a week ago, it was 60 degrees. So
Jesus, man, it's just been a winter and a half everywhere. Um, but yeah, man, it's like that every day here. It's like either one extreme or the other, man. So yeah, it's getting kind of crazy. But uh, but yeah, man, lots going on in the world of MMA. There's some fights this weekend, and we
yeah,
got all
some
kinds of yeah. Some
fun.
fights, some good fights. But yeah, there's a lot going on. Fonz, what's up, bro? I saw that you commented. I don't see it on here yet, but that's okay. Um, ooh, there you go, Nico. Uh, Burns versus Chimaev. Yeah, they're saying that that's definitely going to happen now. Ben, you saw that Dana's
Oh,
calling for that fight.
no, I missed that.
Yeah,
I
he
didn't see that.
UFC 273, April
That's
9th.
the rumor, huh?
Yeah, I can't wait, man. It's gonna be crazy. That's a good fight, bro. That's like a big, big test for him. We'll see. Nico, why aren't you in the building, bro? What's up, man? Um, so that's gonna be a big test for Chimaev. And like I've been high on this dude, but really we're gonna see if he's the real deal real quick in that fight because Burns is no slouch. I mean, the other guys he's fought have been pretty good, but Burns is a top five fighter, and he's a world beater. So we're gonna see if this kid is for real you know, or if he's been faking the funk, man. Because this is the problem, Ben. And I mean, I've watched a bunch of his fights before the UFC, Chimaev's, and I've watched all the UFC fights. He never gets hit very hard. What happens when he gets hit hard? That's the only thing that we haven't seen yet, man. And that is the telltale sign of a lot of guys, that are on these kind of streaks. When they finally get hit back, we see what they're made of, man. I can think of a few like that, but off the top of my head, Houston Alexander, Thiago Silva back in the day, people like that, even Rashad Evans for that matter. But anyway, uh, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But right now, the big story is the Rafael Fiziev versus Rafael Dos Anjos fight. Fiziev has pulled out due to COVID-19. They are looking for a replacement. Um, but
The battle for the name Raphael will have to wait
yeah,
another day.
for real. Nico says he'll be back soon. He didn't know about the time change, but he'll be back. Cool, man. We look forward to it, bro. Um, so so yeah, man. But go ahead. You can walk us through like what exactly transpired through this, Ben, if you'd like.
All right, so this fight has been canceled twice now. It was supposed to happen 2 weeks ago at the same card that Jamal Hill versus Johnny Walker was on, but Fiziev couldn't get a work visa or a travel visa, one or the other, to be able to make the fight. So they rebooked it for this weekend as the co-main event on Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal's card. And it came out today that Fiziev tested positive for COVID. Of course, we wish him a speedy recovery. That shit's nothing to mess around with. Um, but it just seems like another one of those fights that we're never going to get, the cursed fight, so to speak, because depending on what Dos Anjos does here depends on where he moves in the pecking order. The rumor right now is that Islam Makhachev has laid claim to the fight that he wants to take on Dos Anjos at 170. Dos Anjos said that he was game if the fight were to happen at 170. We kind of talked before we went on air that I don't really like the idea of the two of them moving up at 170. because I feel like a fight at a weight class above, regardless of win or lose, doesn't do much for you in the weight class that you fight in all the time.
Right.
You know, I guess I get it, like the staying active and the you know, winning a fight and getting paid thing, because everybody wants to get paid, especially for the time they spent in their training camp, especially for Dos Anjos. But I feel like, you know, they could probably put something together at that weight class, especially where Dos Anjos hasn't fought since he fought Paul Felder, and I think that was even at a catchweight bout too, because Felder showed up on a few days' notice.
Right.
So if you're trying to gain traction in the lightweight division, I don't think it makes sense to have a fight at 170, but it would be a hell of a fight if it did happen. So that's where we're at right now. Is Dos Anjos said he wants to stay on the card because this would be his second training camp and his second canceled fight. But who knows if they actually give Makhachev that fight or not. I guess we'll just wait and see. You and I kind of joked at literally the same time and said, call Bobby Green. See what he's doing. You know, but you know, we'll see what happens. I hope for Dos Anjos' sake that he gets to stay on the card, because he hasn't fought in a while, and having 2 canceled fights is a bummer.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Two wasted training camps, and then, you know, the man needs to get paid. You know, he's not making any money if he's not fighting. I mean, I'm sure Dana White still will take care of him. You know, he's been known to do that kind of stuff, but
and Dos Anjos is a former champion, and he's a company man. He's been there for a while, so I feel like he should get some sort of reimbursement or something if, you know, shit goes by the wayside. But
yep, I agree. I totally agree. But here's the thing. I mean, I know neither of them normally fight at 170 at the moment. I know RDA. Sorry, man. I'm still getting everything fixed with this stuff. But so I'm trying to do this on my phone as I talk. So I'm not trying to not look at you guys. But anyway, the thing about it being at 170, in my opinion, Ben, basically it's just because I'm sure when RDA heard that the fight was canceled, he probably stopped cutting weight. Okay, cool. The guy went out and had a burger and a shake, whatever. It'd be hard for Makhachev to make weight 2 weeks in a row. I understand that part too. And he only fought at 160 this week, now 155. But I feel like if it's 2 guys fighting up at 170 that are both normally 155ers, and there's a reason for them doing it, I mean, what's really the difference between them fighting there and at 155? I mean, if I understand, okay, if RDA stays on the card, I know. But if RDA stays on the card, right? And let's say they brought in what is the fighter? Can't think of his name. But I'm going to give you a good example of how I feel about this. Let me just look up the UFC rankings right now.
For instance, a guy that just fought at 155 and absolutely took no damage and just crushed a guy was Arman Sarukian. Like, yeah, no. What makes you think that he couldn't, you know, he deserves a step up kind of deal? You know what I mean? I get it, right? If they both fight at 155, it wouldn't hurt him to fight at 170. I don't understand. I don't know. I just, maybe I don't want to see it because I'm worried that Dos Anjos would lose. But you know.
But let's say this, right? Just for argument's sake, right? Let's say RDA stayed on the card at 170, and I got the guy's name. It's Sean Bradley. Let's say he stayed on the card, right? And he beat Sean Bradley. Okay, that's an up-and-coming fighter. You know, good trajectory, just like Islam. He fights Sean Bradley and beats him at 170. It does absolutely nothing for RDA as far as a title shot at 155. But if he beats Islam at 170, with them both being 155-pounders, I think it just holds more weight if you're really looking for that title shot. That was my whole point, man. But I understand, too. But I just feel like them both making weight is kind of semantics at this point because they're both active in that weight class. I mean, we're not talking about Conor going up and fighting Donald Cerrone at 170 because he didn't feel like getting to 155 and then getting a title shot off of that. Now, that's kind of bullshit. I mean, if we're just, you know, if we're being honest about it.
Fair enough, yeah.
You know, but because I guarantee you, if Cerrone would have beaten Conor at 170, they would not have given him a fight against Khabib next. You know, so it's kind of, you know, it's kind of a dual-edged sword, but it's all good, man. But gun to your head, is that fight going to happen?
No, I
No?
don't think it will. I don't think it will.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
I'm on the
I don't know
fence.
if they can pull it together in 6 days or whatever, 5
You
days.
don't?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. That's pretty tough.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. This is UFC 272. I just want to look who else is on the prelims before I tell you if I think that if that fight will happen. Because a lot of times we think it's going to be that, and then they pull up another lightweight from a different fight. So let's see what we got here. Yeah, no, they don't really have much of a choice because none of the other there's not really any big name lightweights fighting on the card. I mean, I don't see them pulling Jalen Turner or Jamie Malarkey um, to fight RDA. I think that before they do that, they would just put RDA on ice for another card or two. So yeah, hopefully Islam does pull through. Um, did you notice Bobby Green's tweet? He said that he what was it? He took an like expensive ass whipping or something like that. In other words, I thought that was kind of funny, man. He said they were expensive, expensive, whatever, an expensive beating, I guess you could say, because he made all that
Well, yeah,
money.
he got the bag on that fight.
Oh yeah, for sure, man, for sure. He saved the day, man. And I mean, nah, he didn't do great. He didn't, whatever. But I don't think that he embarrassed himself either. Only because nobody's doing good against Islam right now. So I mean, what can we really say? You know what I mean? They can't really, you can't give the guy too hard of a time when nobody else wanted that fight, I guess. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, what did you think of that fight? Let's talk about that here for a minute. It was pretty much exactly, like we talked about. Bobby Green had a very slight puncher's chance at the beginning, but honestly, like you said last week, even though I said, yeah, it could be, he could knock him out, but the problem is that Bobby Green really doesn't have that one punch knockout power. He's more of like a cumulative damage type guy.
Yeah, he's a volume guy.
So yeah, so it was tough. It was a tough fight for him, man. What did you think of that fight and his performance?
I mean, it went about the way everybody expected it to. I think, no disrespect to Bobby Green, but I don't think anybody thought he was going to be able to out grapple and out wrestle Islam Makhachev. It's a bummer for Green because I mean, regardless of if people think it or not, it kind of stops whatever momentum he did have, because a loss is a loss, right? I mean, but man, Bobby Green is the shit, and Bobby Green deserves another main event on a fight night somewhere. I'm not going to say like a fight he can win, but a fight much more even and level, and when he has a chance for a training camp and to cut the weight, and Bobby Green has worked his ass off. I remember it was about a year ago. He started an internet beef with somebody. I think it might even have been Dylan Dennis. That they started they had like a little Instagram feud or for a hot minute, and Dylan Dennis was like, "Oh, when you get 100,000 followers on Instagram, like then we'll talk." Well, dude, Bobby Green this weekend, like he's over 110,000 Instagram followers, so he's gained like 60,000 fans over the course of a year, and I couldn't think of a guy that fucking could possibly deserve it any more than him, man. Like, name the last time you saw a boring Bobby Green fight. Like, come on.
Happen. It does
the
not
guy's
happen.
fucking pure fucking magic when he's on TV. When he's got the microphone, he's just fucking. He's a good guy, and his story's incredible. And you just want to root for him. Like you want to cheer for Bobby Green.
For sure. And so let me ask you this, man. How do you think this would be for his next fight? Maybe a fight night main event, maybe a fight night co-main event. But what if either he fought Jim Miller next or the winner of Cowboy Cerrone versus Joe Lauzon?
Well, the problem with that is that Jim Miller already said that's the fight that he wants.
He wants what fight?
the winner of Cerrone and Lozon. Or maybe not necessarily the winner, but he said that he would be like that would be a good way to like not necessarily end his career or whatever, but like that would be a good step for him next was a fight against one of those two cats.
Yeah.
But damn it, dude, how awesome would a fight be were Bobby Green against any of those three dudes? Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
against Miller, Cerrone, or Lozon, all three of those fights are awesome. The only problem with that is I think it's not, unless it's Donald Cerrone, it's probably not selling as a main event. And
Well,
even
look,
that, I don't know if I'd want to see Bobby Green beat the brakes off Donald Cerrone or not. You know what I mean? I've
look,
never been a Cowboy fan just
Yeah.
because I think that. I mean, never mind. We don't need to discuss why I was never a Cowboy fan. I like him, but I just never really like went out of my way to cheer for him.
I understand that.
But man, I think this Cerrone versus this Bobby Green, he'd get his ass kicked.
Probably. I mean, I could pretty much agree with that. Let me ask you this, though. But look, and I know I'm whatever, talking what ifs and all that kind of stuff right now. But what if Cerrone wins? Lozon fights Jim Miller, and Cerrone and Bobby Green are like the main event. Those guys are the co-main event. Bro, it'd be like a throwback fight night. I think it would do pretty well for people that have been watching.
I'd be all for that, dude. I love Jim Miller. I love Joe Lozon. I met Joe Lozon at the airport in Boston when I was on my way to Florida one year. I was like walking past him. I was like, "Shit, are you Joe Lozon?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like,
you could tell from the ears, couldn't you?
I was like, "Dude, you're a badass." He's like, "Thanks." And then I just walked off. Like,
That's
he is
awesome.
an animal. Joe Lozon is an animal, man. All four of those guys could be an awesome fight if you mixed them up. I would just like something a little bit better for Bobby Green. It's a bummer that he already fought Ally Aquinta because I think that would be a main event for a fight night, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
But if I'm Bobby Green next, yeah, I think that I'm gonna get a decent fight because they owe you one. They at least owe him the respect of here you go, like this is for you. But I'm not sure who I'd have him fight right now off the top of my head because that division's so stacked and so loaded with talent in the top 20.
It really is. I mean, has
he already beat Alexander Hernandez? That'll be pretty sweet to watch him do that.
Let's see. Has he beat Alexander Hernandez? Let me see.
I know who he should fight. Next. I know he's coming off a loss, but I'd love to see Bobby Green and Renato Moicano main event a fight night. I think that would be fireworks across 5 rounds.
That would be good, man. I'll be down for that. And another fight that I wouldn't mind seeing him in and just try to get some payback is a rematch with Francisco Trinaldo. I would like to see him get that win back.
The bitch is like 45 years old. How the hell is he still such a badass?
Exactly. Hey, it's never too late for that.
He's got that old man strength. He just hits you when you go down. It's just crazy.
Yeah,
Trinaldo, he's fucking nuts.
It's insane, man. He is like he looks like he's 90. He is actually like 40 something. But
you're gonna have to improvise for 1 second. I gotta go get my phone charger. My phone's gonna die.
Absolutely, go right ahead, man. I was just gonna say, and Ben, I'm sure is listening. I remember the first time I saw Joe Lozon fight, and I was thoroughly impressed because he fought against Jens Pulver, former lightweight champion of the UFC. I believe one of the first ones, if not the first one, as far as lightweight champions. And Joe Lozon knocked him out in less than a minute, which was pretty fucking unheard of at that point in Lozon's career. So, I mean, at that point in Jens Pulver's career, excuse me. I mean, keep in mind, he had fought at that point. He'd fought BJ Penn and, some people like that didn't do that well against him. And Lozon knocked him out in, I believe, 45 seconds, somewhere along there. Don't quote me. Dude,
that was one of the wildest. That was one of the wildest fights I ever remember from the early days.
Yeah. And was it his first fight in the UFC?
Yeah.
I think it might have been Lozon's debut, and what a fucking debut, man. What a way to cement yourself as a legend. Your first time in the cage by beating the shit out of a legend, But yeah, man. So I've always liked him since then. He's had his ups and downs. He's had so many fights in the UFC. He's got to be up there as one of the most. Um, but yeah, man. So we'll see what happens. I do like the fact that him, Cowboy, Jim Miller, Dustin Poirier, like those guys all pretty much started in the UFC around the same time, and they're still doing all right. Pretty cool stuff, man. But other than that, Ben, there were some fights announced this week. I'm just going to name a few off for you. I'll get your take on these. One interesting fight, and look, I mean, they might not be household names, but the booking of J.J. Aldrich versus Jillian Robertson, I like that fight. I think that's a cool fight, man. I think it'll be an exciting fight. What do you think of that fight, Ben?
Oh man, I'm a huge Jillian Robertson fan.
Absolutely.
She's scrappy as hell, and she's tough as nails, and she's got some great jiu-jitsu. I actually like that fight quite a bit. I think it'll prove where both of them stand in the division. I like it quite a bit. I think if you ask me right now, I'm leaning kind of towards Jillian Robertson. I mean, obviously the fight's a little ways off, but my opinion might change later. But yeah, Jillian Robertson would be my pick right off. I like how gritty she is.
Yeah, I will say that JJ's a little more well-rounded, but I agree that's a great word for Jillian Robertson, just gritty, and her jiu-jitsu is ridiculous. I mean, I think she has the second most female submissions in the UFC, or the most. Like her and Ronda, I think, are like at the top of the pecking order, right, as far as submissions.
Yeah, you don't really like going to the ground with Jillian Robertson. It's not usually a good time for you.
Yeah, she'll smoke your boots down there, man. So as I said, I like that fight. Let's see what else. Miranda Maverick is going to fight Sabina Mazo. I'm not real familiar with Sabina Mazo. I looked her up. She's 3-3 in the UFC. Maverick's 2-2. I think Maverick has kind of just hit a rough patch. I think that she's more talented than her record in the UFC is showing. I actually thought she won that fight against Macy Barber, but then she definitely lost the next fight.
The last two fights, she's fought killers, man.
Yeah.
They're not moving her along very slowly. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I like Miranda Maverick quite a bit. I think, no disrespect to Maso, but I think this is kind of like a rebound fight for Maverick to come back, get her confidence back, so they can kind of move her forward again. Because she's a really, really great athlete. She's very well rounded. And I think that she has a good future in the division. She, just like you said, she's hit a rough patch, and she's fought some great fighters. So
yeah. Man, this is crazy because I was just thinking about this guy earlier. I didn't even see him on this list, but Lando Veneta is fighting. I only saw him earlier because he had that draw against Bobby Green, but he is booked to fight against Charles Jourdain, which is a pretty good fight.
That'll be a really good fight.
Yeah, I mean, and their records are so similar. You ready for this? Jourdain is 12-4-1. Veneta is 12-4-2. In the UFC, Jourdain is 3-3-1, and Veneta is 4-4-2. I mean, it's like a mirror match as far as records go, so that'll be interesting.
Jourdain is better than his record would indicate, too. He's another guy that's fought a lot of great talent in the division already. I don't know if he fought Alan Jabon or Jobon. Man, what a fight. And he just recently, I'm pretty sure it was him that just recently obliterated the guy he was fighting, to the point where every single member of the commentary team, Paul Felder, was even like, stop yelling, stop the fight. It was against Benoit Saint Denis. And yeah, they were screaming to stop the fight, and Jourdain was just savage as hell. I like that fight a lot. I like Veneta's great. Not great, but he's fun. He's very talented, so it'll be a great fight to watch.
He's dangerous, man. He showed that in his first fight when he fought against Tony Ferguson.
No disappointment by the fans in that. I don't think it's possible.
That should be fight of the night, unless something else crazy gets thrown on there with those guys. Elsewhere, they made it official. Brandon Royval versus Matt Schnell. That's a good fight in the flyweights. That should, show us where those two, rank in the top 5, because I think they're both. Let's see.
Yeah, that's exactly what that's about. That's the next step forward for one of those guys.
Yeah,
I
Chanel is
think that
9, Royval is 4, and I think it'll be a good fight. But go ahead, man. I'm listening.
I just think this is a fight for them to see where Royval's at. I think that they're kind of gonna push him as one of the next contenders to come up, because he's very talented, and the fights that he has lost are against the best in the division, really.
Yeah.
He's like, I think we talked about it before, that he's got really good. He's good in his scrambles. So
Yep. He I remember a while back. Now this was before he won the title, before he fought against Davison Figueiredo, but Brandon Moreno, I can't remember it. Like, I'm looking at his record. He didn't fight him. Oh no, he did fight him. He won that fight by TKO, and that was the only time that that it looked like Brandon Royval was like just outmatched. You know what I mean? He's got a couple of losses, but against Moreno, he got blitzed, man. But besides that, I mean, he fought against Casey Kenny before he got in the UFC, and lost that fight. I think he'd probably do better now. And his only other loss in the UFC is against Pantoja by submission, which Pantoja is pretty fucking good. So.
Well, if he fought Casey Kenny, that must have been at what, 135?
Flyweight.
Wow, Casey Kenny was at 125. All right.
Yeah, at LFA. That was back though in 2018. Yep. So, but let's see. For his first 5 fights, Royval was fighting 135. But somebody missed weight on his first fight, so it was actually 140. It was a catch weight. So anyway, let's go back here, and I'll read the rest of these fights. You had pointed this one out to me the other day, and how displeased you were with it. Light heavyweight showdown between Mauricio Shogun Rua and Ovince St. Preux. It's a rematch. Go ahead, take it away, Ben.
It's it's not a money fight. Okay, it's not gonna sell the card. Maybe it'll sell to the Brazilians, but I just don't see a washed out Shogun. And that's with all due respect. The guy's just got 1,000,000 miles on the odometer. You know what I mean? He's been in some of the most classic wars in MMA history. The guy's taken insane amounts of damage against Ovince St. Preux, who most recently was fighting at heavyweight for like no reason. And again, no disrespect to the man who is popularizing the St. Preux choke, but like you haven't won a meaningful fight in a little while. I just don't get it. It does nothing for either of them. It does nothing for the division. And I don't see it selling a card. I don't see it being a fight that is going to be the focal point of a card. So I just don't understand why you couldn't just give them a different fight. It's not like I said, it's not a big money, high action fight.
Right.
If you wanted to give Shogun a send off, you could have done it a different way. Same thing with St. Preux. St. Preux beat him in, I think, 34 seconds by a flash knockout the first time they fought. It was less than a minute anyway that St. Preux beat him.
34
seconds. Yeah, I just don't know what more damage has been done to Rua since then. I think that fight was in 2014, right?
2014, yes, sir.
So, man, I'm not like disrespecting either of those guys. I just think that there was better guys they could have booked him with, or just different guys they could have booked him with. While you were out sending Sam Alvey to his death every weekend, you could have probably put him against Shogun Rua or something like that, and made a much more friendly action fight. But we'll see. I guess maybe I'll get proven wrong, and it'll be a fucking banger of a fight for 3 rounds and a win fight of the night. Maybe.
Yeah, it's like one of those fights where it's like, I don't even know, man. Like you said, there's nothing. really good that could come out of it. I almost feel like the UFC like took a dart and put up a bunch of people on the board and said, okay, Shogun's going to fight OSP again. You know what I mean? Like almost like let's just keep the guy busy. But you know, as far as that goes, like you were saying about Sam Alvey, shit, they could have thrown John Vellante in there to get knocked out by Shogun too. You know what I mean? They could have done him some favors in the meantime, but you know, it's all good, man. I just like you said, and I totally agree. I'm not a fan of that fight, really. Another fight, a lightweight showdown between Michael Johnson and Alan Patrick is scheduled. Geez, man, Michael Johnson has lost 4 in a row. What do you make of him getting another fight there, Ben?
Excuse me. We kind of talked about it this afternoon. Like, I didn't even know Michael Johnson was still on the payroll.
Yep.
Not that I'm like, oh man, his 4 losses. You know, I mean, we've got guys that have lost more than that. But like, I honestly had no idea he was still on the payroll. I don't know what this fight does for either of them. But okay, I'm all for it. I mean, Michael Johnson is an exciting fighter. I like everything that he's done. I like a lot. What the hell's wrong with my camera? I like a lot of his fights. It'll be great. It'll be a good fight. I'm for it. I guess. Like I said, I was just super surprised that Michael Johnson was still around.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. You know, 4 losses in a row, and like he had gone back to lightweight. So, you know, we thought that maybe that would help out his career a little bit, but it really didn't. You know, four losses is that's a rough one for him, and he's at lightweight, so
right, especially in that weight class.
Yeah.
4 losses between you, or you lose 4 in a row. That's like an eternity to get anywhere in that division. So,
in his last 12 fights, Ben, his record is 3-9. It's pretty rough, man. And yeah, some of those losses are against Nate Diaz, Khabib, Justin Gaethje, Darren Elkins, Josh Emmett. I mean, some top of the line people. And one of those 3 wins is against Dustin Poirier and Artem Lobov. I mean, those are impressive wins, Ben, but still 3-9. That's pretty rough.
Yeah, the GOAT, Artem Lobov.
Nico, we said that last week. We said that was Islam's Michael Johnson fight. For real. We said that on the air, Ben. I mean, that pretty much was. But Bobby Green didn't start crying or getting upset or anything. So, you know, it's all good. Let's see what else we got. Paul Daly, like you were telling me the other day, he booked his retirement fight in Bellator. He's going to be fighting against Andrei Koreshkov.
He's fighting Andrei Koreshkov?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
That is gonna be fire.
It's gonna be bananas. I know that's right.
That fight is going to be nuts.
Yep. So
I'm surprised that Daly didn't want an easier fight for his retirement, especially at home. Yeah. But damn, that's gonna be an awesome fight.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Islam was looking pretty big, Nico. You're right, man. And
he was looking big.
Yeah. But the other dude, Nico, and Ben will tell you his name because I keep forgetting it, looks fucking huge at lightweight. What was his name, Ben?
Arman Tsarukyan.
That dude impressed me. Honestly, that dude impressed me more that night than Islam did. I mean, we all knew Islam was going to win that fight. Tsarukyan, bro, that dude is big, and he fucking dominated right from the beginning.
I'm telling you, dude, he needs to fight Gregor Gillespie next.
I'm all for it, man. Sign it up. I'll watch. You know, I'm happy with that fight. You know, well, show me where to subscribe, bro. I'm good with that one. Ben, turn your ass into landscape mode. Paulo Day says. He says turn your phone. Is it straight up? Let's see if that'll turn you. There you go. Look at you. Look at you, Ben.
We'll see if it works.
Paulo Day in the building. The Irish MMA authority legendary, bro. There he is. Big Paul, what's up, bro? Hope you're doing all right, man. Yeah, it works, Ben. It works. Elsewhere, let's see. There was another fight that I saw made. Oh, yeah, okay. Right. They made the Yuri Farashka fight versus Glover Teixeira official for UFC. What they moved it, I guess. It was going to be on UFC 274, but now it is UFC 275, I think. Is that right? I gotta double check that one. UFC 275. Yeah, they changed it. They pushed it back a month. There you go. They switched it from May to June. I wonder why. Any
Is June International Fight Week?
No, I think that's July, but I'm not positive. Paul said that was driving his OCD insane. Ha ha ha. Nico said most impressive thing about that night was old girl throwing 20 bows in a row. Nico, we're actually about to talk about just some of the decisions that night here in a minute. And let's see. Paul said we got to have full view of the trash. All right. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for the for the fights that are booked. But Ben, I know you wanted to talk about those decisions the other night. In the words of the great Nico, they were a little bit suspect.
Yeah, man. So it was two different fights, but they were basically the same exact fight. The first one was Arman Petrosyan versus Gabriel Rodriguez. I think it was Gabriel Rodriguez.
Gregory
Rodriguez was landing some hellish bombs. I'm sorry, I was reading Paul's comment. Rodriguez was landing bombs, but Petrosyan was landing the more volume. He was touching him up from the legs, the body, the head. He was connected with a lot of strikes. He was moving well. Rodriguez definitely put the damage on Petrosyan, busted him open. Petrosyan definitely looked like he had been in a fight. His nose was like fucking shattered. But Petrosyan landed more strikes. He landed more all over strikes, like I said, over the body, the legs, and the head. And he got the decision. And then we went to, it was Zombie Girl versus, was it Fire Fist? That was the name, like two badass nicknames, right? And it was the same exact thing, right? That Fire Fist, she was landing all of the strikes. She was landing the volume. She was landing more overall strikes all over the body. And Zombie Girl was landing the volume. I mean, the heavy shot. She was landing the power. And she won the decision in that fight. The power shots and the damage won the fight, as opposed to the volume and the movement and it just confused me how one fight could go one way and the next fight that was the exact same way went the other.
And they were both split decisions.
And they were both split decisions. So it was just very confusing to me. Yeah. Paul Felder himself mentioned it that I don't remember her name. I just remember her nickname. That Fire Fist landed at a 2-1 clip over Cachoeira, and she still lost the decision.
Her name is Ji Yuan Kim.
Kim, yeah. So Kim landed at a 2-1 advantage, and she still lost the fight. I realized she wore some damage there late in the third, but it just was confusing to me that the fights were so similar, but they went in opposite directions.
Yeah, and what Felder said too, I totally agreed with. You can't lose the first two rounds, have a great third round, and then everybody say, "Oh, she won the fight." You know what I mean? It's not that way. And yeah, she landed some bombs in the third round, but getting outstruck 2-1 and then getting the decision is kind of bullshit. But at the end of the fight, the only thing I will say for the two judges that gave it to Zombie Girl is that she looked like she won the fight. I'm not saying that she won the fight, but as far as looks goes, aesthetically, she looks like she won the fight. you can't judge a fight by that, but I'm just going to say that she at least, had not a lot of damage done to her face. So it's all good. But Nico would like to know if Darren Till's time with Chimaev will pay off, or is it all for nothing? Is the wrestling curve too great for him to overcome in terms of his career? Ben, I'll let you take this one, and then I'll go next.
My biggest worry about Darren Till is how serious he takes his training camps. I know he's a guy that likes to have a good time, and he likes to make a laugh on social media, and he likes to have a big presence, and he's a big personality. I think Till's got the talent to compete with anyone that he wants to compete with in the middleweight division. Do I think that the wrestling will, obviously it has to. I mean, iron sharpens iron, right? Like you get better by having good people around you. So I feel like the training, the wrestling with Chimaev will help him, but it's how serious he's going to take it afterwards. What he's going to do with himself afterwards that I worry about when it comes to Till.
Yeah, that makes sense. What I was going to say, Nico, and I agree with what Ben says, because Darren Till kind of seems to screw off a lot online and whatever. It's all good. But if it's me and I'm Darren Till and I'm this far into my career, what I would focus on is just the reverse wrestling, the defense, takedown defense, getting right back up. And you got a guy like Chimaev who's great at holding people down and taking people down to practice against. It can't hurt him, at least. Let's just put it that way. I mean, he's already had good striking. And, we've only really seen his lights put out seriously against Masvidal. So I think that I think it'll help him. It can't hurt. And, if he learns a couple takedowns, it just gives him one more thing to threaten while he's trying to set up the hands. So we'll see what happens with that. Like I said, it can't hurt. That's probably the best thing about that. So Ben has a question that we are going to, debate a little bit tonight. And Ben, I'll let you ask the question. Anybody that wants to chime in the comments, chime in, and go ahead, Ben. Let's hear it.
All right. So this weekend, Mr. Paulo D, if he's still in the chat, will attest to Bellator had a pay-per-view in Ireland this weekend, where Gegard. Well, not a pay-per-view, but an event. Sorry, it was an event. Sorry, not a pay-per-view, but they had like their live event or whatever, in Ireland, and it featured Gegard Mousasi defending his middleweight title against Austin Vanderford. Gegard Mousasi would, pretty much wreck Vanderford in about 80 seconds before walking away with the middleweight title still firmly around his waist.
Ben, before you go any further, what is Vanderford famous for?
He's Mr. Paige Van Zandt. That's what he's famous for. He was on, I want to say, a 4 or 5 fight win streak in Bellator against pretty decent competition. So, not taking anything away from the guy. He's obviously a talented wrestler, and he's got some power.
But his career highlight was marrying Paige Van Zandt, for sure.
Yeah, his 100%. Career highlight is being on Paige Van Zandt's OnlyFans thing. It's not like an OnlyFans, but it's basically an OnlyFans. But anyway, my question is, where does Gegard Mousasi rank amongst the best middleweights of all time? I'm going to read up a couple things for you just to give some background on why I asked my question in the first place. Gegard's been around for a long time. Gegard was a Strikeforce guy, if that gives you any idea of how long he's been chilling around. Back in the OG Frank Shamrock, Kung Lee, but Gegard's been around for a long time.
Ben, forget about Strikeforce. He was a Pride guy.
Yeah. He was a Pride guy too. Yeah.
Before Strikeforce, he was on the Pride. What are those things called? The Bushidos. They would use him on those Bushido cards. Let's see. Paul, okay. But go ahead. Paul says top 10 for sure. Very arguably top 5.
So
And
anyways, I agree. Yeah, I feel like he's got to be top 10 for sure, and very arguably top 5. That was kind of where I was saying. But he's a 2-time and the current Bellator middleweight champion. This isn't relevant to the middleweight division, but it still is to his legacy. He was a Dream light heavyweight champion, a Dream middleweight champion, a Cage Warriors world middleweight champion. He was a champion in Strikeforce. He's got 49 wins, 28 knockouts, 12 submissions, and the list of middleweights that he's beaten are, I mean, arguably some of the best middleweights that we've seen in our day. Jacare Souza, Dan Henderson, Chris Weidman, Vitor Belfort, Talis Leitis, Thiago Santos, Mark Munoz, Rory McDonald, Lyoto Machida, Alexander Shlemenko, Douglas Lima, and he's got 7 losses, and 3 of his losses he's avenged in rematches. So, the guy is obviously legendary when it comes to the sport itself. You don't fight for Pride, Dream, Strikeforce, UFC, and Bellator and not be a respected guy in the industry. For me, I think that the win this weekend, even if it was only a guy like Austin Vanderford, I just think it kind of cements his place in the top 5 of middleweights. Because it's only going to be, more from here. It's going to be another title defense. It's going to be probably another main event for a Bellator show. So what do you think?
what do I think? I think that Gegard Mousasi is a freaking stud, number one. I've always been a fan of his. And I'm going to ask you, knowing the stuff that you know about me, before I go any further, what do you think was my favorite Gegard Mousasi performance? Now, he won the fight, obviously, but what do you think would be my favorite win of his before I tell you some more? Knowing what you know about me, Ben.
I'm going to have to say him beating Chris Weidman's probably your favorite.
Boom! Ben, you're the fucking stat man for a reason, bro. Of course, him beating the piss down Chris Weidman's leg was awesome. Just a little bit of retribution from a fighter that I like after Weidman beat Anderson twice. He definitely has a great case for being one of the top 5. I totally agree. And it's funny, too, because he is so good, and it's almost like Anderson Silva, where he has like that one freak loss on his record, where he got submitted by Akira Gono, who, Akira Gono has like a, 36-23 record.
Yeah, but Gono is a legend, man. He's a Japanese legend.
Absolutely, but I mean, he's not anywhere like. As far as legacy goes, he's nowhere near Gegard Mousasi, in my opinion. But, like, same thing happened to Anderson Silva over there in Pride when he was fighting against
Rio Chonin.
Well, no, Rio Chonin's a little bit better than I think. I mean, he had a lot better record, but Anderson Silva was fighting against the guy called Deju Takase, who finished his career up with 12 wins and 15 losses. And Anderson got caught in I got it pulled up here. He got caught, in a triangle choke. And it was just one of those things where it was like, what the fuck, man? Seriously? Like, they both have like that one weird loss on there that if you saw them fight those guys 10 times, they'd win 9.
Gono's not even the one weird loss on there, bro. His one weird loss on there is fucking losing to Uriah Hall, man.
Oh, God, but
that's the loss that Mousasi wants back. Like, if you look at any loss in his career, I don't think the split decision loss to Rafael Lovato Jr. I don't think that's one that he's going to be like, I want that back. I don't think the submission to Gono. The loss to Uriah Hall, which he got rematch retribution. He beat him in the rematch. But, dude, if he could redo his whole career, that would be the fucking one fight that he's like, I don't want to lose that. Like that ultimate momentum, that was bull. I mean, I like Uriah Hall, but that was horse shit. Like,
how did that fight go? Because I remember him just getting kind of caught like a surprising knockout, right?
I'm pretty sure Hall landed a spinning heel kick or something.
Like
He
just out of the
smashed.
blue,
I
right?
mean, he got smashed, right? He got caught by a heavy-handed guy and went down. But man, that would never happen again. You could do that fight 50 times, and
Yeah.
49 times Gegard Mousasi's winning that fight.
Oh yeah, I'm with you on that, man. So
The saddest thing for me is that he didn't get more of a shot in the UFC. Like, he didn't keep going when his contract was up. I think he could have had a shot to be champion before Izzy's dominance kind of started. I think him and Bobby Knuckles would have been a hell of a fight. Mousasi, I like Mousasi quite a bit. I like what he's doing in Bellator, but I would have liked to have seen his UFC run be a little bit longer.
yeah, I would have too. I'll tell you another thing that he did, man, and like he doesn't get credit for this fight because the dude kind of fizzled out afterwards. But bro, he beat Rafael Carvalho like when Rafael was unbeatable. Like he was on like I don't know a 15 fight win streak, I think, and Gegard shut his ass down, and then after that, the dude lost like 5 fights in a row or something like that and retired or something along those lines. I don't even know if he retired, but he definitely lost like so many fights in a row. He lost last year. He fought again. I'm looking at it right now. He's only won 1 fight out of 6 since that fight. But man, Gegard has done some awesome things. And I'm not saying anything about it because obviously he had this dude had some issues. But I remember this fight. I'm looking at it right now against Lovato Jr. and he lost that majority decision, and then Lovato had to relinquish the title. And according to Lovato's Wikipedia, he wants at least 1 more fight, and he's been trying to get medically cleared.
Yeah, they'll never let that happen.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Gegard be able to, avenge that loss, but no, there's nothing wrong with losing to Lovato Jr. The dude's 10-0. He's a stud too, but I would have liked to have seen that fight again. I thought Gegard won that fight, just to be honest with you. But
that was a gut wrenching thing too. You find out that this guy with a lot of promise who just beat Gegard Mousasi for the belt, he has to relinquish the belt due to something that's beyond his control. I just don't ever see an athletic commission having the balls to sanction him to fight again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so either. But
which sucks,
Yeah. If I'm Gegard, I would call Keith Jardine out of retirement just to kick his ass because they did have a draw in Strikeforce. That would be
Was it in Strikeforce they had that draw?
Yeah.
I thought it was Shark Fights.
Yeah. God, Jardine hasn't fought in 10 years. I really didn't even know that before I just looked him up.
Good.
But yeah, man, like just naming off some of these people that he's beaten. Douglas Lima, Lyoto Machida, Rory McDonald, like I said, Rafael Carvalho, Chris Weidman, Vitor Belfort, Thiago Santos, Talis Latis, Uriah Hall, like you said, Dan Henderson, Jacare one time, and he lost to Jacare one time.
Go back. I mean, like I said, we're not talking about this because these aren't in the middleweight division. But, dude, he has a win over Mark Hunt. He has a win over Babalu Sobral. He's got
the Mark Hunt
fight. He's got a win over Sokaju. He's got a win over Melvin Manhoef. Like a win over Dennis Kang. A win over the original Cyborg Santos. The OG Cyborg Santos. Before MVP caved his head in.
Incredible, man. Bro, he beat Hector Lombard back in the day. Like he beat like a who's who of fighters, man. Yeah, I forgot about the Mark Hunt fight, but yeah, that was in Dream. I remember watching that fight live.
And he finished Mark Hunt.
Yeah, armbar.
He didn't knock him out, but he submitted him. Yeah, he armbarred him.
So with all that said, man, yeah, I definitely see a place for him in the top 5. And he's not done yet. You know what I mean? And he doesn't look like he's anywhere close to being done. He looks like he's still kicking ass and ready to roll. Yeah, I mean, he's been all over the place. He fought Fedor. Did I ever see that fight?
Shit.
I didn't know that he fought Fedor.
What
Did I know?
Animal. Holy shit. I mean, I don't know who exactly would be my top 5 middleweights of all time, but I feel like, obviously Anderson Silva's in there, and I think Musasi would probably be my number 5. I think it's very reasonable to think that he would be a number 5.
Yeah, I could see it. Honestly, like just looking at what he has done, I might even put him up, above number 5, because I mean, I guess the two that you'd have to throw in there for sure would be Anderson Silva and Israel, and I'd say probably Bobby Knuckles too. And I'm not trying to use recency bias, but those three, I would say are up there, and I would say that
Who
Gegard
did you
Mousasi.
say?
I said Bobby Knuckles, Izzy, and Anderson Silva. What? Who are you shaking your head at? Bobby Knuckles?
With you, both of them.
Who, Izzy?
They're not on the best of all time list yet.
Bro, Izzy's killing everybody at middleweight. Like none of the fights have even been competitive except for Bobby Knuckles, man. He's got to be. Look at his record, man. I would put him up there. And Bobby Knuckles, I mean, just because of how long he's actually been, on the top of the division, not champion the whole time, but I mean, if you look at Izzy's record, man, he's beaten a lot of fucking good people, bro. I mean, we'll be looking at it just like Gegard's in a couple years, man. I mean, bro, the guy beat Melvin Gillard. Do I have to say anything else?
Don't make me have to say things about Izzy that I don't want to say, all right? Don't you dare make me say Izzy.
Bro, he beat Melvin Gillard. I mean, there's nothing else you can really, say. There's no comeback from that. He beat Melvin Gillard.
I want another year or so. I want another year or so of him, doing
look at what my bro Paulo Day said. Izzy,
that's fine. Like I said, I just don't think it's yet. I want a little bit more out of him,
Yeah.
I love Izzy though, man. He's a treat. He's a real treat to watch.
He is, man. And I'm glad that they, bumped up his pay. And I feel like he's getting more and more entertaining as he goes along, and that's important. And also, he said recently that before he retires, he at least wants to perform in WWE a few times, which makes it even cooler, in my opinion.
Yeah, man, I hope he doesn't do that. That's not good for your body. That's just not good for your body when you're.
Nah, if he could get a Brock schedule where he does like 3 or 4 matches a year, I'm good with that.
I can't believe you're not putting Rich Franklin and Michael Bisping in your top 5 of all time. They're just the goats, dude. Rich Franklin, fucking school teacher out here, fucking smoking guys and shit. Come on.
He was great at the time, but dude, in retrospect,
Rich Franklin, I saw a video of him hitting pads the other day. The guy's still a fucking a juggernaut. The dude's still humongous.
I'll say this, man, and I know you're probably not going to agree with this.
Oh no! Come on. Obviously, I'm being a joker.
No, I know.
Nico.
No, I know. But I'm just saying, you might, you probably won't agree with this, but I'm going to tell you who I think are my top 5. Just not even looking at a list. It's just off the top of my head. Are you ready? I'm going to put Gegard there. I'm going to put Anderson Silva, Izzy, Bobby Knuckles, and Dan Henderson. Those would probably be the 5, just off the top of my head. Now, if I looked at a list, I probably think that these guys might be in the top 10, and I'd have other guys that I threw in there. But just thinking, just off of sheer memory, I would put those 5 in my top 5.
Paul, all of the steroids still. He works for ONE FC. You can't tell me he's not on the juice, dude.
For real. I mean, just look at Brandon. What's his name again? The one that was heavyweight and light heavyweight champion.
Oh, Brandon Vera.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at him, man. He definitely. Thanks, bro. I think Nico's on the Fight Gods page commenting. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. But there's a lot of great middleweights, but I feel like if you didn't put Dan Henderson on there, you're missing something, because in Pride, the motherfucker was literally killing people. I mean, my list
would. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm listening. Your list would what?
Anderson Silva, Vanderlei Silva. I can't believe you forgot Vanderlei Silva.
Yeah, I know.
You want to talk about murdering everybody? Fucking, he was murdering everybody. Steroids and not steroids. he was murdering everybody. I mean, I'd put Dan Henderson on there. Hendo's a legend. And who doesn't like Dan Henderson except for maybe Michael Bisping? I mean, I was kidding about Rich Franklin, and I mean, I'd say Bisping's probably number 6 for top middleweights of all time.
I think he'd be in the top 10. I could agree with that.
You know, okay, all right, I'll put Izzy at 4 and Gegard at 5. So you know, I'd have Anderson, Vanderlei, Dan Henderson, Izzy, and Gegard.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple other people that you'd want to put in, or
David Loiseau, Nate Quarry, legends.
Yeah, those guys are great. But hey, GSP. Nico says GSP.
Hey, all right, Nico. All right. We agree on that one. We'll make him. We'll put him in the play.
We're gonna make him like we're just gonna make him like an asterisk because of the only one fight. But he is undefeated at middleweight. Let's not forget that. Let me ask you this real quick before we finish up this discussion. Who do you think had the best chin ever at middleweight? Just at middleweight.
Oh, Dan Henderson.
You think it was Dan Henderson? Yeah. Well, yeah. I would say it's either Dan Henderson or Chris Leben. Leben had a fucking jaw, man. That dude.
Yeah, until Anderson Silva sparked him, bro.
So Anderson Silva did, but then even after that, bro, you remember the Terry Martin fight when Terry was just dropping like Mike Tyson style bombs on him, and Chris Leben
was it Brian Stan?
Yeah, Brian Stan. Yeah.
Fight, dude.
Bro, Leben like would look drunk in those fights, like he was half dead, and then he would just keep fucking swinging, man. But yeah, Hendo did have one hell of a jaw, though. You're right about that, man. That dude, he could crack and he could get cracked. But I just before we leave, I wanted to tell a quick story. And I know I sent you a.
Paul Gastelum has to be on that chin list for sure.
Yeah, definitely, man. He's got a hell of a chin. And I'll tell you, Ben, who would have been on the top middleweight list if his career just didn't fall apart overnight, and that would have been Luke Rockhold, because he was on his way there, but then Michael Bisping beat him, and the dude just fell apart, man.
I can honestly tell you that I would have to puke in my own mouth if I had to mention Luke Rockhold as a top 5 middleweight. So I'm glad
he was on his way, though. I'm just saying he was on his way. I didn't.
Oh yeah, I know, but he's like got to be the most unlikable guy fucking ever. Like
very unlikable. So what I was saying is I sent you that one little blog post last night. I don't know if you got a chance to read it. I just did it because of the location thing, but nobody really knows this, but I've been writing my memoirs lately. I decided a couple months ago, I'm 40. I want to write about some of my life experiences, a lot of stuff like to do with pro wrestling, some different things from when I was a kid, different interactions with like famous pro wrestlers, just some different stuff, man. Even if it never gets published, I want to be able to write everything out so that, I could die tomorrow. At least my kids will know who I really am and what I came from, And I ran into an old blog post, and this is a comedy story. So before I start, Ben, do you remember a few years back, probably 10 years ago, this movie came out called Abraham Lincoln, the Vampire Hunter?
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that movie, bro. Oh yeah.
Oh, you are? You've watched it?
Very familiar. Dude, it's one of my favorite movies.
Really? Was it a good movie?
No, it's ridiculous.
Really? I mean, what's it about? Obviously, Abraham Lincoln slaying vampires.
So basically, the story is told as if it was a biography that was written about Abraham Lincoln, and he's the president, and he's a badass, and he freed the slaves, but he also is an absolute bomb, badass, absolute gangster vampire hunter.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a book and it's a movie. The book is better than the movie, but the movie's fantastic because it's just so ridiculous. It's Abraham Lincoln fucking killing vampires, bro.
Gotcha. Okay, I was just wondering about that. I just want to make sure you had heard of that movie because it'll be relevant later on.
It's phenomenal.
But yeah, so actually, yeah, I need to pull something up real quick, Ben. Just give me 1 second because I got to get one fact straight before I do. Oh, actually, I could do it on my phone. So it just, reading through these things, I rewrote this. It was part of one of my blogs a while back, but it it started in 2012 when I started my pro wrestling company. It was the second one that I ran. Nobody's got a chin like Alpha in any weight class. Fucking agreed on that one, obviously. So 2012, I started New School Wrestling. And the first event we did was a Wounded Warrior Project benefit. So anything that we made, any profit we made, we gave right to them. So I reached out to some big name wrestlers. A couple of them were kind of dicks because they lived close enough that they could have driven there in 20 minutes, and they could have wrestled for a few $100s and it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. I understand you're a big name, but you wouldn't even really have to take bumps if you didn't want to. You know what I mean? It's just to get people there to raise money. Anyway, I ended up having Shane Douglas, Gunner, who in WWE was Jackson Riker, Lodi from Raven's Flock, and Raven. Those were the four big names that I got to come in. And before I say the rest, Raven actually came in for less than half of what his normal cost was because he was a supporter of Wounded Warrior. So basically, I got him a plane ticket, a hotel room, and less than half of what he normally did. And I bought him dinner, and he came in and was on the show. And you know what? He didn't bump, actually. Like, he wrestled, but he never took one bump, and that's cool. He was in a tag match. It worked the way he did it. But anyway, so what I did was there was like a big convention coming up. So I helped get Shane Douglas and Raven on the convention, which was about a month after my show. And it was about 30 minutes down the road. I was friends with the promoter. So I was like, hey, I can help you guys get on this show or whatever. That was part of like me helping them out since they were helping me out. So the show is called WrestleCade. It's in Winston-Salem every year. So I was on the first one and I get to the arena. And right when I walk through the door, the promoter, Tim, he's one of the promoters. He goes, Will, I need you to drive to Charlotte and pick up Raven. And I'm like, all right. It's like, probably 45, 50-minute ride. But I was like, all right, cool, man. I could do that. He's like, he'll be at the airport in about 10 minutes. So you need to go ahead and leave. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll go get him. Whatever. Now, the first time I met Raven, Ben, I thought he was an asshole. I didn't like him. And like, honestly, I was going to leave him at the airport the day that he came in to wrestle on my show, because he got off the plane just complaining and just being a dick to everybody. All right. But he'll grow on you, man. One thing that amazed me was within like 30 minutes of meeting him, we're in the car and he tells me that Jerry Lawler didn't really have a heart attack. It was a work. And I was like, how do you figure that? You remember the Jerry Lawler heart attack deal? And Michael Cole wouldn't even announce after that. He was so upset. It's like, hey, look, it's like, it happened on video. It's a work. It's like, they just happened to have video cameras there. It's like, this guy's wrestling every weekend and now he has a heart attack on WWE. Yeah, it's a work. Don't worry about it. I'm like, all right, cool. I obviously didn't buy that. So anyway, I get there to the airport and I pick him up. And like, one thing I do need to tell you about Raven is that he is like an insane genius. Like, he's a genius. You know what Mensa is?
Mm-hmm.
He's a card-carrying member of Mensa.
Yeah.
All right. And a little backstory about Raven is that his family owned a newspaper. I don't know if it was the National Enquirer, but it was something like that. It may be the National Enquirer. I don't want to speak out of turn. It might not be. Anyway, they wanted him to join the family business. He didn't and went into pro wrestling. And basically, he got cut off from the millions of dollars that his family had. That's a true story. It could be verified, whatever. So that just shows like how much he really wanted to wrestle. And, so anyway, the dude, like, you can ask him about anything and he'll just start spitting off the weirdest facts you've ever heard in your life. You can be like, Raven, do you drink beer? And he'd be like, yeah, but, Bud Light has about 130 calories and it tastes pretty good, but Heineken's 240, so it's worth it because it tastes really great and it tastes way better than Bud Light because it's watery. Like, that's the kind of answer he'll give you, not just, yeah, I drink Bud Light or I drink Heineken. He's going to give you like all the facts about it. He goes around giving you all the facts before he gives you your answer. So anyway, and I'm sure that you know this, but when you meet big names in the business, you don't talk to them about, oh, what was it like in ECW and this and that. They are going to think you're an idiot. They're going to think
you're a mark, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Laugh my ass off. Chill out. He the water boy of beer, bro. I'm not just talking about beer, of anything, Nico. Seriously. So they're going to think you're a mark. And that's actually in one of my other blogs. When I met Chili Willie, all these other guys were asking him about ECW, and I was just like, hey man, whatever. We just talked about something. I don't know, a movie, whatever. So with Raven, of course, I didn't want to talk about that shit because he'll bring up ECW or he'll bring up WCW or WWE when he wants to. You don't need to ask him, about it because it's just not the right thing to do. You don't want to be a mark, exactly like you said, bro. So I start telling him about this movie I had seen the night before. Now, I had turned on the movie a couple minutes in, Ben, and it was called The Imposter. And if you've never seen it, it's a pretty cool movie. It's about a dude named Frederic Bourdin from France. He was a French con man. You ever heard of him, Ben?
Yes.
That movie? You have?
Yep.
Okay. So you know the story of him. He convinced that Texas family that he was their long lost son that had been gone for 4 years, and all that other shit. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm telling Raven about it, and he's kind of like laughing, and I don't know, whatever. He enjoyed, me talking about it. He'd never heard of it. Said he wanted to watch it. I said, and the thing is that I didn't know it was a true story until the end because I started watching it a few minutes in, and at the beginning they tell you it's a true story, but then after that I just thought it was a cool movie I was watching. So I said yeah. So I sat there and I watched the whole movie, man, and finally at the end I realized it was a true story. And this is the exact quote from Raven when I finished that. He goes, Willie, the same thing happened to me recently. I've always thought of myself as a history buff. I'm a bit of a scholar, as they say. My whole life I had never had any idea that Abraham Lincoln was a vampire hunter. That's what he gave me at the end of that. Fucking classic, bro. That's my Raven story for the night.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, I mean, where the fuck did he come up with that shit is beyond me. But you know what? I've always thought that I need to watch that movie, and I think you just gave me an idea. Maybe I should watch that tonight, man.
Oh yeah, dude, it's ridiculous and it's over the top and it's wild. But I mean, what do you expect? You know what I mean? It's a really good watch. Like if you just want to have a stupid 2 hours of your life and just.
Is it anything like Bubba Hotep?
Dude, it's on the level of Bubba Hotep.
Okay. That's like one of my favorite movies, honestly. By the way, how about an Irish guy helping facilitate one of the best teams in combat sports, the Getlings and the Stash? Bro, you can come on anytime, man. Come on, man. Let us know whenever you want to, bro. We're trying to.
Yeah, we need that sweet baritone of Paul there. If I can soothe us all.
Bro, just get with us, man. We'll start up a little group chat, man. Anytime you want to come on, absolutely, man. Let's do it. But yeah, I love Bubba Hotep. One of my favorite parts is like when he's talking to the black dude who says that he's JFK, and he's like, they put a bag of sand back here, man. Like just fucking random stuff in that movie. Oh yeah, I know it's late, bro. I know that's the only bad part about it. Like I said, we're trying to get on earlier. We start up at 8:30 now. I'm trying to do that because we were doing 10 o'clock, and it'll just be late here too. But yeah, I'm gonna check that out, man. Abraham Lincoln. Hopefully, it's streaming on something. But is there anything else you wanted to say before we take off, Ben?
We got big fights this weekend. I do believe. Actually, maybe we don't have Bellator this weekend. Maybe they did their 3 weeks there. But I mean, we've got Colby versus Jorge this weekend. Which who doesn't want to see that?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I know we've kind of talked about it a little bit that your heart says Jorge.
But my head says Colby. And I'm coming home, boys. Nico, come on, bro. We'll get the fucking four corners going. We'll do it, whatever, bro. Let us know, man. Let's do it.
Nico, who's winning, Jorge or Colby?
Hey, we're gonna do some picks on Wednesday night, right? Wednesday, yeah, we'll do Wednesday
Oh,
night.
we're gonna do some picks later on. All right.
Yeah, but who
Paul,
is jumping in?
the rumors Islam Makhachev wants to fight, Paul, but
Yeah,
smack
Nico.
me over the head with picks.
Yeah, Nico says Colby, and he says prepare for the return of Nico Adames. I'm smacking all y'all over the head with picks. Let us know, bro. Let's make it happen. Paul said Jorge is going to baptize that joke. Now, look, I want to say it in front of everybody. I'm not giving my pick yet, but I messaged this to Ben earlier, and I messaged it to my other cousin, and I truly believe this with all my heart. If Jorge loses and he looks bad losing, he will fight Conor McGregor next. I swear. It's going to happen. It'll be at 170. But he's got to lose the fight and look bad for that fight to get put together. Mark my words. If Jorge loses. But I'm not giving my pick yet. But if he was to lose and look really bad, that would be the fight for Dana to make coming back. It would sell great, and it would be a good comeback fight for him, and it would be a good fight for Jorge, and winnable for both guys, really. What you shaking your head for, Ben?
That's crazy. That's bold.
Hey, it's gonna happen. Look, today, and we'll like I said, Wednesday night we'll go over this 9:30, 8:30, same time, same place. Hey, Paul, I agree, man, but I have the feeling, but we have to see where Jorge is right now, coming off of that knockout. We've got to see what he's got left. That's the only thing we need to do. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Oh, I saw some stuff today with Usman, and he was saying two things. He said Colby doesn't realize how much better of a wrestler Masvidal has become since they don't train together anymore. And he said, and Masvidal doesn't realize how much better of a striker Colby has become since they don't train together anymore. He's like, both of those guys are going to be very surprised in that first round about the other skill level. And, I totally agree with that because both those guys have improved and they haven't trained together in at least 2 or 3 years, right? So it should be interesting.
I think the whole fight is gonna hinge on that first takedown attempt. Whichever way that goes, I think decides the winner. I think if Colby can get him down and ride on him a little bit, we'll probably see more or less the same of that in every round. But dude, you don't want to get hit by Jorge Masvidal. I don't care who you are.
Nope.
He sent fucking Darren Till to the Shadow Realm. He literally ended Ben Askren's career. I mean, I think Askren fought again one more time after that, but I mean, it was done after that. And what Kamaru said is true. Like, Colby doesn't understand how much better of a wrestler Jorge is. And he'll find out real quick if he can't finish that takedown and he gets hit a couple times.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not making my pick either, but I do think it'll all depend on that first takedown attempt and what happens.
Yeah, I got you, Paul. So to answer your question, we covered that right at the beginning. I think Islam is going to jump in and get the fight for this weekend. Ben doesn't think they'll be able to put it together in time. But we'll just have to wait and see if there is enough time to put it together. I don't know. It's definitely up in the air right now. If it does get put together, it'll be very interesting. So anyway, for Ben, I'm Will. This is the Fight God Show, and we will be back Wednesday night, 8:30, same time, same place. Hopefully everybody joins us, and we'll see you then. Later.